And I have in studio with me today a very, 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 very powerful testimony that's going to be given by Makiba Ali. Uh, it's been a while since I've been trying to get her to come on, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to ask you to just introduce yourself to the people that are listening. Let them get an idea of who you are, a little bit of your background, and then we're going to get right into the discussion. So, Makiba, just introduce yourself to the people.
Hi everyone, my name is Mikiba Ali and I am coming from a background of New Age. Growing up as a child, I was introduced to so many different religions, never knowing who Christ was. My last name is Ali because my dad, he's a Muslim, and my first name is African. And growing up, I was basically I had to do exactly what my dad said in terms of worshiping his gods, and it was it wasn't something that I was really for, but it's something that I did because I wanted to please my dad.
All right, so again, you would have grown up and come from a background of New Age, right? A lot of people have heard about New Age and they don't understand what is New Age. They've heard about this New World Order, all these things, and they get a bit confused. If you could give them a little idea of what exactly New Age is, just so for those that don't know, may have not heard about it before, just let them get an idea of what it is.
Well, for me, what we used to do is basic spiritual practices. We don't believe in one God. We think that we are our own creators, and it's just a lot of spiritual practices basically.
Okay, so they because I've heard a lot of people speak about New Age, right? And they are saying that okay, just as you would have
Yes.
mentioned, we are our own God, we're in control of our
Yes.
destiny. So we, as Christians, we don't really hear about that. We understand that there's this one God, this one Creator. So how does that become? How can you be a God? How can you be your own God in this idea or mindset of New Age?
Okay. Like we believe in Christ, but in New Age we don't look on Christ as a God, more than a prophet, a man, and we're capable of doing the same thing that he did. So he's looked upon as a master. So for us, we believe we have that within us to be our own creator, just as Christ was his own creator. That's how the New Age basically looked at it. So in order to reach to that level, there's a lot of different spiritual practices that you would have to do in terms of meditation. For me, I used to do chakra meditations, kundalini meditations.
Kundalini.
Yes.
Oh my, that almost sounds like a made up word, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry for disturbing you there.
Yeah, so it was like I was doing so much different meditations. And basically, with all of these meditations, you're just opening up yourself to the demonic realm. But at the time, I did not know this. I thought, hey, I'm seeking God, and I want to, because at that time, I really wanted to find out who God was. Because as I said, growing up, I didn't really know anything about Jesus. I only knew what my dad told me or what I learned in school. I never read the Bible until I got saved. It was a very challenging for me. I remember one time I downloaded the Bible on my tablet and I made the attempt to try to, read the first chapter in Genesis. And I started getting sleepy and started feeling funny and my head started to hurt me and then I was like, I went to tell my dad, this is not for me. No, it's God's way of warning me that this is bad.
What?
This is not for me. Yes, that's what happened. I didn't know that the Bible, I thought the Bible was something bad. That's
Mhm.
what I thought because every time I tried to read the word, I would get sick or get sleepy or something would just happen to me that would just stop me from even trying to. So I just basically gave up on that.
There's
And
something interesting that you said because you spoke about uh, in New Age you believe in more than one God and you
yes,
yourself are a God,
yes,
um, but then you were seeking God. So
yes,
I'm trying to reconcile those things because it seems like almost three
Confusion.
different things
yes,
that you're trying to find at the same
yes.
time.
because seeking God was my personal choice.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was something that, because I wasn't really getting that fulfillment in the different practices and the different religion. I always had like this empty void, this empty space inside of me. And because of that, it put me in a place where I wanted to seek God. Because as a child, growing up, I always used to hear this voice, just like how I'm speaking. I would just hear this voice talking to me, protecting me from danger and telling me when things are going to go bad, to to protect me. And I always wondered, where's this voice coming from? Where's this voice coming from? I just don't get it. Where's this voice coming from? It's always protecting me. And that is where I wanted to really seek who God was. Like, is this coming? Is this God? Who is this? And that's how I started venturing into all of these different practices, because my family, they're into it, so that drawn my interest, like maybe God is in these things.
Mhm.
So that is how I came to it. So even though I knew, as New Age practice teaches, that you are your own creator, for me it wasn't enough, because I know that voice was not coming from me, so it had to be coming from somewhere else. So it was not enough. But as I said, I ventured into it, and going into the New Age practices, um, I became like addicted to it.
Uh-huh.
It's like a lot of seducing spirits was involved in this, because as you start doing the meditations, you're starting to develop abilities,
Mhm.
and the more you develop these abilities, is the more you want more of those abilities. You want to get more, and that's why I started to do the chakra meditation and the Kundalini meditation.
All right.
Now,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
now with the chakra meditation, it teaches you there's these 7 points in your body that's called the 7 major chakra points.
Mhm.
So they say these are what basically keep the body together, like allowing it to function. You have a lot of people would know about the third eye, because the Indians, they always put the little dots between by their eyebrows.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yes, that represents the third eye. That's your spiritual eye. You being able to see into the spiritual realm. So that is one of the chakras. You have a one above your head. The one above your head is for enlightenment. And then you have the third chakra, you have the throat chakra, you have the heart chakra, and you have different chakras going down until you reach the sole of your feet. Now, once you get these chakras open and functioning the way they should, they eventually start to grow.
Oh, so that's an interesting thing now. But what
Yes.
what I'm looking at though is that this is like a complete opposite of what Christianity
Yes.
teaches. Where Christianity teaches God is first,
Yes.
and you do everything through God.
Yes.
This now is the complete opposite, where
Yes.
you are God and you are able to do
Yes.
and have all these things. But you're saying that is a deception,
Very much so.
right?
Very much so. It's a very big deception, because after coming to Christ, I would say it was a bit challenging in a way for me, because I still had that new age mind, being my own creator, depending on my own self and no one else. So now I have this God who is this mighty God, but then I don't know how to submit to Him. I don't know how to surrender to Him and allow His will to be done in my life. I didn't know.
Mm.
I thought that, I still have to function the same way I was always functioning my whole life, depending upon myself and not upon God. So, yes, it was very challenging.
I want to just ask a little bit more, just a little bit about your family background. I know you spoke about your father, but were there any other individuals in your family that had this kind of mindset, this belief, so to get a more understanding of that background that you were coming from, so people can know what it was in your life surrounding you on a daily basis?
Okay, well, I come from a very dark background. First off, my grandmother on my mother's side, she was a witch.
Oh, what?
Yeah, a witch.
Which is
Yes.
which?
Yeah, she was a witch. She was into dark, very dark magic.
Oh.
Yes. And on my dad's side, he was coming from that same thing as well too. Everyone being involved in different spiritual things. As my dad say, his mother used to take him to these Obia places, and they would buy things and put on him, and
What?
yes, and he was playing with Ouija boards. It was like,
No,
yes.
was some real
Yes.
deep spiritual things that
Yes.
you're speaking about. Some
Yes.
dark spiritual things that your family really was into.
Yes.
And this is the background that you're coming from, and you come out of this background, and you're now trusting to a new mindset. But what I
Yes.
wanted to know, how did you come to understand about Christ, and that there's a difference? Because you said you were searching, you were looking
Yes.
for something else. How did you come to that mindset to understand that what you have been searching for all your life, it was right there. It was actually searching for you.
Well, as I said, when I was a child, I used to always hear this voice. This voice was always with me throughout time. But the thing is, I never, majority of the times, I never listened to it. So, with all the practices that I did, there was always this voice always trying to lead me away from it. But I was more following my family and things like that, wanting to please them and, being addictive to the abilities I was developing. So eventually I continued with my search, and then I started a job where I met a sister,
Mm-hmm.
and which is a coworker now, who is now my sister, and she started telling me about God. Matter of fact, like when I first met her, I didn't like her.
Mm.
I didn't like her at all because she was a Christian. I didn't like her because all of these different religions, it taught me to hate Christians,
Mm-hmm.
to completely hate them. So when she was starting to, I found that she was a Christian, I didn't like her. But then eventually, it's like God was doing something in me. He was changing me. So I would always hear her ministering to me the word of God, and I heard it in a way that I never heard it before, because she was telling me things that I didn't know was really in the Bible. But then I fought her on it. I
Uh-huh.
really, I gave her a really, really hard time, a
Uh-huh.
real hard time. But then eventually I made the decision to wanting to get saved. I said, I tried everything else. Why don't I try this God that she believes in? Let me see what her God can do. Because I would hear so many amazing stories that she would say that God did this for her, God did that, and so many things. So I said, okay, let me try this God and see what this God is about. Then I told her I wanted to get saved, and she wasted no time. I came to the pastor, let him know everything that was going on, and we scheduled for me to come to church the following week. I came into the building of SJPC, and that was like, when I came into the church, it, like, to me, it did not look like a church. I
Uh-huh.
can't, it's so hard to explain, because as I was there standing, and the worshipers, they were just worshiping, it's like God has just had at that time lifted a veil off of my eyes, and it's like he just revealed to me his glory.
Uh-huh.
And then at that moment, he made it known to me that the voice that I was always hearing, that I was always searching and couldn't find, that it was him.
Oh.
And that, like, words, I can't even find the words to explain. Like, and I just started, tears just started to flow because it was so overwhelming. I felt a love that I never felt before. And it was so different, so completely different to all the different practices that I was doing. Because these different practices, I never felt love.
Wow.
I never felt that type of love, like, okay, this is it. This is what you've been searching for, that space that you were looking to be filled, like you found it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what actually just made the difference for me.
Just
Yeah.
having that sense of
Just
peace,
having that,
that sense
yes.
of love.
That, yes.
But I've heard a lot of people, because from especially from my day to day, I heard a lot of individuals talking about this new age, and they seem to have trying to convince me that is the right way. Now you're coming out of that. They're speaking to me about manifestation.
Yes.
They're thinking about this thing, and they can manifest it, and they
Yeah.
can have it. But you're saying that it's not all pretty like that.
No.
It's something a lot darker behind
Yes.
that.
For me, I think why they talk about it so much, they're more addictive to the power that
Uh-huh.
it brings. They're not seeking, they don't really want to seek God, they're not really seeking love, they're not really seeking peace. They're more seeking power rather than love, rather than peace, rather than God. It's all about power, what I can do. Manifestation is like what I can manifest, what I can do. These are the abilities that I'm receiving. These are the abilities I have. This is the power. Because a part of the new age, when I was in it, I used to do a lot of astral projection. A lot of that.
You have to explain a little bit. Not in detail though, but what does it mean to astral project? What does that mean?
Astral project is when your spirit is basically leaving your body, and you're aware of it. So you can go to different places and see things, what everyone is doing, what they're talking about, and then you can come back and tell it to them that this is what you were doing and this is what you were talking about.
Oh, okay. So individuals now they see that they have these experiences,
Yes.
and for them that is a sense of power, that is a sense
Yes.
of being, and they want to get into that.
Yes.
But you're saying there are dark forces behind these things.
Yes.
How did you come to know about the? Because originally, if you had known that there were dark forces behind them, I don't think you would have really
No.
followed that path.
No.
And so I think that individuals themselves may not recognize that there are dark forces behind it, because just as you said, it speaks about the I being a God. So it doesn't speak about the forces behind. Because so you might be, misguided, thinking that okay, this is just me doing this thing, enjoying this power, these kind of things. But there are dark forces behind this. How did you come to find out about the dark forces?
First, first of all, how I even got involved to saying, okay, this is good for me. As the Bible said, that Satan comes as an angel of light, right, to deceive, and that's basically what the New Age is. They glam it up. They call it light beings and
light beings.
Light beings.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and enlightenment and awakening and all these different things that make you that sound like it's so good. That they're here for humanity. We're here in love. We're here in peace. We're here in all of this, and it's not good. So how I started to come about it is that as I went deeper into these practices, as I said I did, chakra, kundalini, and different forms of practices. So as I went deeper into it, I started getting attacks. I started seeing demonic beings. I was able to communicate with a lot of them who portrayed themselves as what I thought were angels.
Oh.
Yes, I used to actually commune with them.
As in speak?
Speak with them. Yes. They used to be in this like angelic type of body. It looks very nice, very beautiful, and I would think, oh, I'm communing with an angel. But then as time goes by, those beautiful things that look beautiful to me started to turn. They started to attack me, wanted to kill me. There were many times that I had to run. I had to run for my life because I was on the complete attack, and I didn't know how to protect myself. I didn't know anything about warfare, because what it teaches you in the practice is just surround yourself with light. Once you surround yourself with light, you're protected. No, that's not true. Coming to Christ taught me warfare. Taught me warfare. The blood of Jesus. And I didn't know this.
But you spoke about the attacks and had to run for your life. Tell me a little bit more about that. And I want to invite those who may have any questions. Would you be willing to take any questions, everyone?
Yes.
You can call us at 562-8528. We don't have much time left. But you guys, if you have any questions, any understanding, because we're trying to bring some light onto some of these things, because I have gone about my day hearing about these things, about new age thinking, and about you being a god and be able to manifest and all these things. But here we have someone that is telling us about the danger of these things. So if you have any questions or anything like that, you can call us at 562-8528. You might have heard something along the lines and you might have been confused. Hopefully we can bring some light and some clarity to you. But yes, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
And there's this other thing as well that's going around, Reiki.
I've heard about that.
They're calling it's a healing energy that they're talking about. That they think where it really came from. It led all the way back to Christ, because Christ was a healer. They believe, okay, and where did Christ harness his power from? They're not looking at him as he is God. So he's not harnessing his power from anything, because he's God. He is power. So with Reiki now, they're looking for a source where they can get these healing energies. Now, I have met the source, and the source is not a source. It's not a source. It's all demonic. You're tapping into the demonic realm without realizing it. And you're putting this energy upon people, not realizing that you're sending that person off with a demon rather than being healed. But the thing about it, once you do it, it actually feels like it works. Like
Uh-huh.
the pain is gone, you feel so calm and relaxed. But where is this power coming from? And as I started to search deeper into it, I started to realize that this is evil. This is not good. This is evil.
Uh-huh. And you were saying you again you were telling us about the attacks. They started to attack you and
Yes.
you had to run
Yes, I
literally.
had to run literally. Yes, there was this time while I was living with my dad, and my dad and my son, they left that day for my son to go to school and my dad to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I was home because at the time I was working an evening shift at a call center. And I was just home, trying to get some rest before it's time for work. And was living in this apartment. It's only one way in, only one door. So
Uh-huh.
one way in, one way out. At that time, I locked everywhere up. The entire place was completely locked. The only window was open was in my room. And I had my bedroom door open and I was sleeping. Then again, the same voice that I used to tell you about, that I was telling you about, sorry,
Yeah.
that used to speak to me when I was a child, right up to adulthood. I was asleep and then I felt like someone started shaking me and saying, Makiba, Makiba, wake up.
Uh-huh.
Danger is near. So I instantly got up and like, what? Like, what do you mean? And then the voice told me, go unlock the door now, your bedroom door. Go unlock it now. So I went and I locked my bedroom door. After locking my bedroom door, I was talking to the voice, I'm like, what should I do? Then the voice told me, just watch and see. So underneath the crack of the bedroom door, I saw shadows. And then I heard my son and my dad's voice. So I was telling the voice, like, what are you talking about? There's no danger. That's my family. They're home.
So you're hearing the voice of your father
Yes.
and your son,
Yes.
but you're home alone.
Yes.
And this voice is trying to tell you, beware, lock the door, stay
Yes.
safe. Yes, go ahead.
So as I was there, I was just talking with this voice, asking the voice telling me, these are not your family. I said, yes. So the voice said, go to your bedroom window and look outside and see if you see your dad's car. Because my dad usually would park his car underneath my bedroom window. So I went and there was no sign of his car. So the voice said, this is not your family. And then all of a sudden, I no longer heard the voices of my dad and my son. But then I started to see the door handle starting to turn.
What?
Yes, but because I locked it, it wasn't able to get in, but I saw the door handle starting to turn. And I got really scared.
It scared me now.
Yes. I asked the voice, what should I do? What should I do? Should I run? Should I go through the window and run? But the voice told me, not as yet, because there are a few that's behind, and we need all of them to come to the front before you can run.
Wow. So this voice is warning you and
Yes,
telling you
and telling me
exactly.
exactly what to do.
Okay, go ahead.
So as I was there and the door handle, was just rattling. And then it went from rattling to the whole entire door, they were trying to burst the door down. The door started to shake violently. Now at that point, that is when the voice told me, it's time to run.
Wow.
So I tried to take the guards out of the window at the time. The guards wasn't coming out, so me and the guards went through, went through that window. Yes, and I ran up the road. And when I ran up the road, I called my dad on the phone and tell my dad, like, somebody's in the house, like, something's wrong, somebody's in the house. So while I was on the road waiting on my dad, a cement truck just appeared in front of me. And then it was this dark skinned looking guy that he didn't really have an expression other than just being like really serious. And it was like a left hand drive truck. And I found that very weird in Antigua, like a left hand truck. Yeah, cement truck. And the person who was inside the vehicle, they just turn and they just look at me. And like I was so terrified because I didn't know how to defend myself. So I started to say, oh, leave me alone, leave me alone. And I started making noise like that. And because God, who is so merciful, I know for a fact God intervened. And this thing that was looking at me, it just eventually turned around. And as the truck drive off, it just disappeared in front of me. Yes.
No, repeat that again. I don't think the people understood what you said. Repeat that again.
The truck disappeared in front of me as it drove off. And
The,
then
the
yes,
entire cement truck
yes,
disappeared.
yes, yes. So my dad came home. He went to the front door. Front door was already locked, so he had to use his key to open it. So there was no sign of entry. He checked the windows was locked. I said, like, he started scratching his head like, we keep like, nobody was in here. The place is completely locked. And then after I told him, that is when we realized that it was a spiritual attack.
Wow.
Yes.
And now, the thing about it, you've seen these things in the movie, and sometimes you're tempted to think that, hey, that's just a movie. These things don't really happen in real life. But you are talking about something that you experienced, where you saw a cement truck out of nowhere, and
Yes.
then this just disappeared.
Yeah.
And so now this is when you were still in these practices before
Yes.
you came to Christ and
Yes.
these kind of things. And that to me is just amazing, because a lot of individuals, they are telling me, no, that is the way to go, that is the right way. They're telling me that I am the one who is in darkness following Christ. No, that I'm telling you what they're telling me,
Wow.
right? But you're saying that that is the complete opposite.
Complete opposite. They're just deceived. That's all it is. They're just deceived. But thankfully, I was able to actually see what was carrying on behind, closed doors, I should say.
Mm.
I'm just thankful. It's not good, and the attacks never stop. The deep I went into the meditation, especially the Kundalini, because the Kundalini, they say, is a serpent that's at the base of your spine, and the whole goal is to get the serpent to the top of your head, which will give you enlightenment. And the deeper I went into that, it is the more I started to see, is the more I started to get attacks.
So this was after the first attack. You continued in the stuff, or
I continued, yes,
oh,
because my
okay.
family, they keep telling me,
You're
oh,
brave.
you have too much fear, you have too much fear, you need to let go of it. And at the time, after that attack, they were dabbling in witchcraft. So, they start to go and buy witchcraft things, say, oh, we're going to get these demons out of here and all sorts of things. But that only, it only made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
It only made it worse.
Yeah, good.
So, but I still continued because, again, my family, they're into it. They're into it. So I continued because I didn't want to, be left out or wanted to make them proud.
Okay, so you continued in
So I
that.
continued into it.
Right, and what has your life been like after coming to Christ? Because you told us about that experience, you came to church, that peace that you had.
Yes.
I want to make sure that individuals are able to compare and contrast that. And we only have a few more minutes. So if you could tell them about what your life has been like since coming to Christ.
It's what I can say is God is a transforming God. Because when I think about all the things that I have been through, and it's a lot, it is a lot I have been through, where God has rescued me from death so many times when the enemy came at me.
Mm-hmm.
And to see where God has brought me now is just, I'm just in awe. Total appreciation to Him for what He did. From changing my mind from New Age to now, giving me the mind of Christ, where I no longer, because when I first came to Christ, I still had the New Age abilities. I did my deliverance, but I was still seeing things.
Uh-huh.
And when I was still seeing things, I was told that it's a gift. It's a
Uh-huh.
gift from God, but I questioned that gift. I said, okay, it's a gift from God, but I'm not reading anything in the Bible where it said that I should be seeing colors.
Uh-huh.
And I know when I started doing the chakra and the Kundalini meditation, that's where the colors came from.
Mm-hmm.
But after coming to Christ, it's not something that just changed right away. It is a process. God had to train me. He eventually took that away from me, where I no longer see these things. And now it's just amazing because now God taught me how to depend upon Him. And He's just showing me, because when I came to Him, I started reading the Bible and I wanted to make sure that He is a God of His Word. And I wanted God, basically, prove to me that you are God. And everything that I've read in His Word, He's just been doing. And to me, that is life changing. The more God reveal Himself to me, is the deeper I go into Him, and is the more I love Him. And I would never trade God for New Age. I would never do that, because it's something totally different. I no longer feel empty. I know what love is. I know what value is, to have value for myself. I know that it's so good to not have to rely upon yourself. It's like a huge burden that has just been lifted off of me, knowing that I have a God who is able and who wants to take care of me. That I don't need to depend on myself, but to rather just trust in Him. And to me, that is more than anything else that I could ever want. So coming to Christ, this is where I'm at. Just loving what God is doing for me.
Right, and as we look to wrap up, we just have a few more minutes. I want you to speak to the individuals that are listening to us on Abundant Life Radio and also on Facebook Live. And I want to thank everyone who would have joined us on Facebook Live. We've been having a little bit of issues with the internet of late, and I had to restart a couple times, so I apologize for that. But I thank you to those that have been following us on Facebook Live. But I want you to just speak to them, and what is the advice that you would give the individuals that, just like those that I would hear from on a day-to-day basis, that encourages others to get into New Age and to leave Christianity behind and to follow after these things where they can manifest things for themselves and get out, according to them, out of the darkness that we're in and that we're being programmed to believe in.
It's so funny when I hear the word program because New Age is what gives programming.
Uh-huh.
Christ set us free.
Uh-huh.
I'm living in freedom. New Age is a whole bunch of rules. You have to do meditation, you have to focus on this, you have to focus on that in order to receive a manifestation or the law of attraction and all these things. Like, it's just too much. It is just too much. People who are in New Age, they're the ones that are in darkness. Christ is light, Christ is freedom. Like, come to God. Come to God. Get to learn His word, and then you will know that you know He is freedom. He is love. Stop seeking after power. Stop seeking after wanting to be your own creator when you have a creator that wants to do so much for you, wants to love you.
Right, so I thank you once again. It definitely has been a blessing. I've heard your testimony several times, but I thought, and I just everything happens in the right time. Because as you said, we've tried to do this before, but now is the time I think God wants this word to go out. So I thank you for coming on, and I trust that those that would have listened, that they would have been blessed by what you said, and to understand the danger that comes with New Age. As you said, it is portrayed
Yes.
as something good, something light, and awakening, and all these very nice words.
Yes.
But behind it, you're telling us that there's darkness, and you're warning the individuals not to get into those New Age practices,
Yes.
but then to seek after Christ.
To seek after Christ.